and welcome to Petra Media. I'm Terrence, and today I wanted to discuss a couple of things. Every couple weeks or so, I noticed in my videos, I'll get a couple of comments from people related to the whole hardware versus software thing, or the conversation saying, you have all this gear, why don't you just use a laptop? Because a laptop is so much better than what you're doing. Or I can make beats on my iPad or my iPhone and make better music than you. And that's all fine and dandy. I think the reasons behind why a person would consider hardware as an option for making music is subjective. It's about that person's comfort level when it comes to dealing with that hardware and the things that come along with that process. Now, arguably, I started doing music production back in, I want to say about a little before 2000 or so, like professionally, 2005. And the thing with that time frame was computers were terrible at doing music production. And the real reason they were bad was really the hard drives. The hard drives just simply were not fast enough to do the recording that's necessary. RAM was not as readily accessible. It was always really expensive to get RAM to upgrade your machines to make them run faster. And, in general, syncing things with the computer was a whole process. You really needed a word clock, and there really wasn't any way around that if you wanted to sync all the hardware with the software and get it to work comfortably. It just simply wasn't a thing that was easy to do on its own. Fast forward to today, and you literally can make an entire beat on an iPhone or an Android device. Very easy, very doable, very possible. So, if that's the case, why still use one of these dinosaurs? Up until recently, I want to say about 5-10 years, maybe 10 years ago, it became a much easier thing to just simply make it in software. You had programs like Logic, Reason, Ableton, and a slew of others that came along that pretty much made all the hardware obsolete. I mean, you look at today, you have Behringer making synthesizer clones of older hardware, making it more affordable for you to buy into hardware. But at the same time, Arturia and other synth plugin manufacturers have made very solid clones of these synthesizers and workstations. So why hardware? For starters, the average person who really likes hardware is comfortable with it. I mean, the 1000 for me, sorry, it's the only device I have out at the moment because the whole studio is packed up. So that's why you're seeing the 1000 so much. But the 1000 is my safe space, meaning it's the thing that I'm the most comfortable with. I know exactly how to use it. I know exactly how to work with it. I know all the features, all the bells and whistles, everything that's going to be great for me to do what I need to do really fast. There's no delay in the process of making production, meaning I have to wait for things to trigger and react. I don't have to wait for any kind of MIDI sync messages that may be problematic because sometimes with software, even today, you still have those issues that come up. And for the most part, it's dedicated because it does one thing. Yes, at the end of the day, at the core of the MPC 1000 is a processor, a hard drive, whether that's the solid state drive, a compact flash, or what have you. Hard drive nonetheless. That technically labels it as a computer, albeit a very limited machine with a very simple operating system that is designed to do one thing. And that's the key right here, one thing. A laptop is designed to be flexible. It is designed to do as many different things as you could possibly dream of. In that space, it creates an opportunity for distractions. There's nothing wrong with distractions, but when you're trying to focus on one thing, you kind of want to shut everything out. If you ever notice when you start to do music production, you tend to close your web browser. You tend to shut this thing off and shut that thing off and shut this thing off. It's no different from me sitting down with the 1000 and the Phantom X and turning off my cell phone. I mean, it's essentially doing the same thing. The only difference in the two is, I guess you could say, where I finalize the project, which I finish it in Logic versus finishing it on the hardware, because I don't have a hardware recorder. And I'm not gonna go and invest in that because I have Logic. So it doesn't really make any sense for me to do that. But we're getting off topic. So when you talk about the whole, just buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that, what you're speaking to is your comfortability, not my comfortability. And you have to recognize the difference in those things. What you started with and what your preference are okay. And what another person's preference and what they started with that's okay. I've learned how to use multiple DAWs. I know how to use Studio One. I know how to use Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Cubase. I know my favorites out of those, Logic and Cubase. So software is not the issue. Hardware is not the issue. It's the joy of using these things. I am usually smiling from ear to ear when I work on something on the 1000 or the 5000. I also have frustrating moments. I have a ton of frustrating moments with them. But overcoming those frustrating moments puts a huge smile on my face. And I think that's the part that we all miss, the joy. You can achieve that joy anywhere. I mean, I could simply pick up my iPad and launch that thing right there, the Korg Elect Tribe, which y'all know about that. And I can use this thing and put together drum grooves like nobody's business and have a great time with this thing by itself. At the same time, I can do the same thing in Logic or Cubase. But at the end of the day, I don't get the same feeling that I get when I work with one of these. A lot of times, I think what happens is I feel like when I'm using Logic or even Serato Studio, because I forgot to mention I love using that thing. Actually, Serato Studio behaves mentally for me like the 1000. And that's a weird space because I don't know how to quantify why that is. But Serato Studio, that makes me smile when I use it. I think the reason for the hardware on my side of things has more to do with the beginning of my path and the fact that I really enjoyed the whole process of building everything outside the box in one of these devices, playing with samples, manipulating it, adding sounds on top of it, and adding the drums and everything, the whole searching and finding. That whole process, I can get it done pretty quick because I've had years and years and years of experience. I've done my 10,000 hours. So it's so easy for me to work that way and then transfer it to a DAW and finish it up in the software. So I guess there's no clear answer. And I don't think there really is supposed to be a clear answer on the why. I think the better thing to ask is, what's your why? Why do you like using software? Why do you like using hardware? Why do you feel the need to tell everybody to do the same thing? Because music is subjective. Music creativity is subjective. And it needs to stay that way. Because if everybody's doing the same thing, then everything sounds the same. I wonder why everything sounds the same right now. Think about that. And I look forward to hearing the music from everybody. And I look forward to the conversation in the chats. I actually, even with my naysayers or people who want to have a fight, I listen to what they have to say. And as long as they're respectful and not derogatory, I tend to respond. If it's just some straight BS, some keyboard warrior that wants to pick a fight today because they didn't have a good sandwich or something, I don't know. I don't have time for that. I'm a father. You can't faze me, I don't care. So, my thing is be respectful because we're all creative. There's 8 billion of us on this planet, if not more by now, and everybody has something to give. And it's good to receive what others are doing, see what they're doing, and appreciate the things you like and step away from the things you don't. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But the minute we all start doing the same, sound the same, see the same, share the same, that's when we lose it. And the humanity goes away. And then at that point, why are we all doing any of this? Like, share, and subscribe. Join me next time. Doing this one from the office, the wife's office. Last couple times before we get out of here.